What's going on, Pokemon Go trainers? Welcome to episode 51 of Lured Up, the podcast where we take Pokemon Go way more seriously than we do ourselves. Right now, Adam and Melissa are making ridiculous faces to each other in the video.
Well, it's because we made it out of 51 and we made it out of Community Day.
We did.
Sure did.
Today is Sunday, Community Day, October 21st, 2018. I'm one of your hosts, Ken Pescatore, joined by my co-hosts, Melissa Pescatore and Adam Tuttle. What's going on, guys? How are you?
Hi, friends.
Doing fan-flippin-tastic.
Yeah, today was good, man. Now, this was the first Community Day where it was cold in the Northeast. So,
yes,
Adam,
so
I'm
windy.
sure for you it was even colder than it was for us. We were like 45 degrees. How was it for you?
Yeah, 45 was the high, and when we left, it was 44.
Yeah.
Like, that was like, I was like, great, it's going
brutal.
to raise in temperature 1 degree.
Yeah, we were playing in Red Bank, which is on the water, and it was windy in-game the whole time, and it was bitter.
Yeah, same for
It
me.
was freaking bitter outside. Like, it was, we carred it. We went car mode the whole time, 3 hours in the car.
Yeah, I wasn't getting out of the car. Screw that.
Melissa was like, nah.
If it's below 60 and there's a little bit of wind, nope, I'm done.
So the wind coming off the water was just like insane, and like I was getting hot in the car when we like pull over. I'll open the window and it's like, holy shit! It's like it's freaking windy out there. But yeah, it was pretty cold. But there was hella people walking around playing on the streets of Red Bank, so that was good to see. And it seems like this was a very popular community day, and people came out, which was really cool. So we'll talk about that in detail. But this podcast is powered by Patreon. Please check ours out over at patreon.com/gottawatchemall, where you can support this show for as little as $1 a month. That $1 will get you access to our patron-exclusive Discord, which is a fantastic place filled with fantastic people. And I want to give a huge shout-out to our show supporter tier patrons, Brittany, Jay, Jessica, Keith, Matt, M. Pitts, Terry, David, Chris, and a huge thank you to Sydney Shermanator, who upped her patronage from the Discord tier to the show supporter tier. Sydney, thank you so very much.
Whoa, thank
Wait,
you.
get this.
awesome.
And also another shout out to 2 new Discord patrons that we have this week, Melody and Christo Drio. Thank you guys so incredibly much.
Man,
It's so
the
awesome.
list
Oh,
is
that's
getting
awesome.
long.
Welcome to the fam.
Yeah, it's cool, and it's really nice seeing new people into Discord and breaking them into the internet channel and all that shit, because that's typically
Breaking
pretty
them
fun.
in.
No, but
Go
honestly,
breaking
guys, on the patrons, with all our patrons, thank you guys so incredibly much. It means a lot. All right, on today's show, just after we recorded last week, of course, Gen 4 dropped. We knew that was going to happen because, all signs pointed to that. So Gen 4 is now here. The first wave is here. We'll break it down. We'll talk about it and all its wonderful splendor and Bidoofness. Beldum Community Day was today. A lot of fun. It was a good one for me. It was different, and we'll talk about all
a
those
lot of
reasons. And I got to sit down with Go Ranger Matt from the Go Ranger app, and we're gonna splice that interview into the middle of the show. And it was really cool talking to him and learning about his process and what the app is all about. So we'll talk to Matt, and then finally we'll wrap up with the Piloswine raid guide and battle party. Melissa's favorite Pokemon, Piloswine. She's like, I could give a shit about this Pokemon.
Yeah,
I have a feeling she's going to be bringing 6
Well,
Snorlax.
it gets big like a Snorlax, right?
It's like Snuffleupagus.
Stupid.
It's like Cousin It.
And that's exactly what I was thinking, cousin it.
Yeah, but when Mamoswine comes out, it's going to be a badass. So.
And I'm not going to care about him either. Because he's probably stupid looking.
All right, Gen 4 is here. Let's break it down. The first wave, 26 available Pokemon. Now, we were talking last week briefly that this is one of the lightest waves or the lightest gens for wild spawning Pokemon, meaning there's only going to be about, I think it's like 60 or something that we're going to potentially be able to see in the wild in general, less the regionals and all this kind of stuff. So we got, I think it's something to the effect of a little over a dozen different Pokemon lines of evolution. There's 26 total. And they got some good ones in here, and this surprised me. I was saying that the first Gen 4 Pokemon we were going to see was ghosts. I really thought that's how they were going to do it for Halloween. But what do you guys think of this wave? Do you have any standout Pokemon? I mean, Bidoof, our Lord and Savior, has been taking over the internet. But, besides Bidoof, do you guys have any favorites from this first wave?
Turtwig.
I
Yeah.
like Chimchar.
Chimchar is awesome. His animation when he comes on the screen looks really cool because he's
And
Even
Buttery
before that,
is
he like
really
does
cute.
flips.
Yeah.
While he's like in the whatever the spawn stage or
on the
whatever.
map. On the map, you see
Yes.
him like doing a little dance. Buttery is cute too. That's a cute one. I think they did a good job with mixing it up. I mean, they gave us the starters. And yeah, Turtwig I've kind of had an affinity to just because Torterra.
Some people would call him Torterrable.
Torterrable. No, I like Torterra, man. I think that's visually.
No, I know.
It's one of the most badass looking Pokemon. It's a giant fucking turtle with a tree growing out of his shell. It's awesome. I was like, it looks so like medieval and just wise and badass. I don't know. I really
Today
like it.
during Community Day, Baneri's evolution Bunnelby?
Yep.
Right? Is that what it was? Yeah.
That spawned?
That thing, that spawned.
Get out.
That's awesome.
And so many people ran to that because it was, that silhouette. Everybody gets
Holy
excited when they
shit.
see the silhouette.
No, that's
What Pokemon is
you
that?
see, wait, that's interesting because I wonder when, like, there was multiple news outlets that picked up on like, hey, this is the lowest amount of spawning Pokemon in the wild. I wonder if they took into consideration that evolution could spawn, because I don't think that we're seeing like Grotle or anything like that. We're not seeing like the starter second evolutions or second stages, but
Yeah, you're not seeing Kricketune.
Right. But shit, I don't know. That's interesting. But Melissa and I were seeing tons of Gen 1 second stage Pokemon. Charmeleon we saw.
Yeah, I had to pull over
Ivysaur.
for an Arbok.
Yeah, like we were just seeing random stuff like that. And we'll get into that when we talk about Community Day. But from the Gen 4 side, it seemed like there was less Gen 4 spawning during the Community Day window, and the Gen 1 through 3 were kind of amplified. Turtwig for me, I think, is my favorite right now because I just want that Torterra super bad. I just think that's just a badass looking Pokemon.
Yeah, I just hatched one, so yay for candies and a good Turtwig.
Yeah, Turtwig.
Turtwig.
So the evolutions for the existing Pokemon we've been talking about for months, preparing, saving your, Magnemite candy and all that shit. So as soon as Gen 4 drops, you can evolve. But those evolutions are not available yet in Gen 4. So we're going to have to hold out till that rolls out wave by wave and they start including those Pokemon. So can't evolve those just yet. So the Sinnoh Metal is not going to be too impressive yet. There's only 26 total that you can get at the moment. The stat rebalance, this was another bad day for Niantic. This did not go well. So they pushed the stat rebalance live, and everybody, all the news outlets, everyone picks up on immediately like, holy shit, here we go. Stats are live. Everything changed.
Yeah, I was in the middle of a Mewtwo raid when this happened.
Didn't something weird happen to you or something like that?
Yeah, it was like for the first 60 seconds we didn't do any damage to it. It was almost like in all our Pokemon were dying, we were so confused. Everybody get out of their cars to kind of congregate.
Like,
and
what's
say,
going on?
What's going on?
That's weird.
They're like, should we back out? Should we, and then everybody was talking. They're like, watch this be the Gen 4. Niantic's trying to fix something right now. They're trying to do the Gen 4 drop right now.
Yeah, and so I actually put on our Instagram a side-by-side of my top 12 Pokemon showing the differences and how, the stuff on top got nerfed and Mewtwo was changed and there was all these different changes that were going on. And what people were noticing, and I was the sucker that did this, was that all the Pokemon that got increases to their CP ended up not getting their hit points compensated for that increase. So you were seeing all these Pokemon that needed to be healed because there was an increase in CP, which increased their total possible HP, but the game didn't compensate and bring those up. So there was a negative HP bug that came along with this stat rebalance. So it went live. There was no official announcement. They knew something was fucked up. And how long do you think that was live before they ended up rolling it back? It was quick. It was...
I think it was at least a half hour.
Yeah, something like that. But they ended up rolling back the stat rebalance. Everyone's CP went back to normal. I went through about 70 potions. So I was pissed.
See, I don't keep potions.
Yeah.
'Cause I just have max revives.
Yeah, see,
I still have 600 of those.
I cleaned everything up, and then the stat, it reverted back to it, and then my Chanseys and Blissies were still needed to be healed. It was just them that were left there. It was really weird. But yeah, I ended up ripping through a bunch of potions, which totally sucked because, I was right on top of it. When it happened, I was in the app, so I was just like, it pissed me off, but that still needs to come. Gen 1 through 3 is still not rebalanced. Now, Gen 4 Pokemon are following the new rebalance, the new structure when it comes to the defense and stamina and all that stuff. So we're going to see this change, this rollover for Gen 1 through 3. That's still yet to come. So I would potentially hold off on powering up Pokemon or stuff. Just wait till this shakes out, because you may not want to power up Pokemon. I mean, like our Metagross that we caught today were all boosted. And Melissa's like, oh, I'm going to power this thing up. I'm like, you know what? Just wait. Because you may go be powering it up for nothing, because if it gets nerfed with the update, you just probably wasted a couple power-ups worth to get it to a higher level than it could, is going to be after the rebalance. So, it's kind of weird right now, but they fucked up. There's no nice way to say it. Like, that was just a disaster. Another poor, bad Niantic day. And then they don't address it. So that's the thing that I thought was kind of shitty. It's like, if something happens, like, call it out and say, like, what the hell is going on? Like, give us the courtesy. Because, like, a casual player may not have even known.
Didn't affect me.
Right. If you didn't have the game on during that 30-minute window, it was completely transparent for you. You would never know. But, they got to start communicating at least with the 1% when it comes to the core, the core players. Like, they got to get that information out there. At least if they want to put it through the YouTubers, like, do it through the YouTubers so the message can at least get out. Like, what the hell happened? What's going on? When are we going to see this fixed? But I don't know. It was messy. The raid bosses were shook up. Tier 1 raid bosses now include Gen 4 Pokemon. Bidoof, Bunnery, Shinx, and Kricketot. And Shinx can be shiny out of nowhere. So, Melissa
I still have yet to see.
We did one today. We did
one.
Yeah, we actually, when we got home from Community Day, the gym that's like a stone's throw from our house was lit up with a Shinx. So I was like, yo, I'm gonna run over there real quick, do the raid. I came back home. Josh was home eating or whatever, and then Melissa ran over, did the raid. I mean, that's the beauty of these tier 1 Pokemon. It's just like, you could just stop and knock them out. So there's no reason, like, if you see a Shinx every single freaking time, you should stop and do this. And those candies are going to be valuable, you know what I mean? And it's easy to catch with a pineapple. So do that shit. But I haven't seen anyone in my area that has a shiny yet, but they're all over the internet. Adam, have you looked into these regionals?
I just saw one of the maps that mathed everything out in color coordination, and I was kind of upset because I was like, how close do I need to get a Pachirisu? But that's in the far north hemisphere.
It's like the Arctic Ocean.
Yeah, so it's like Alaska,
Russia.
I mean
Edmonton, Canada. That's fucking up there. Saskatchewan, like that.
Yeah,
that's for Pachirisu.
I'm like Montreal.
Yeah, that's going to be. They need to do that for an event. They bring that Pokemon over, because I'm not sure. Like, just like traveling to India, I'm not sure if that's going to happen for me.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm going to be taking a trip to the Arctic anytime soon.
Yeah, not anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's not that far, I guess, if I was going straight up, but still,
what do you mean? It's probably it's hours. It's probably like a 10-hour drive north into Canada, at least.
Yeah. So I drive 6 hours to see you.
I'll make the trip with you. I've always wanted to see the Northern Lights.
Oh, there
Let's
you
do
go.
Let's do it.
Road trip.
Take my wife, please.
I'm not kidding.
Chatot, Southern Hemisphere. This is going to be like Australia, New Zealand, Brazil, Uruguay, Argentina, South Africa, and then Carnivine. This is an interesting one. Southeastern U.S., like Florida, Tennessee, Alabama, the Carolinas. It's been spotted in the Bahamas. And I'm sure this is going to kind of change over time when more reports come. But now in Florida, you can get Heracross and Corsola. And Northern Florida, you can get Tauros. And now you're going to get Carnivine. So, like, Florida is like a serious hotspot for regional Pokemon. It's like the vortex. Get all these different...
Well, it's also where Disney is, so...
Yeah.
Ah, Disney.
Yeah, exactly.
Disney.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Adam.
Let's go.
No, stop, please.
Shinx and Riolu are hatching from 10Ks. There was another bug where Luxio was actually coming out of 10Ks, but they fixed that really quick and brought it back down to... I haven't hatched any of these yet. I've just went through 2 rounds of eggs today during Community Day. Everything that I got, I was short on Pokeballs. So, like, I had to collect all my gifts early just to get Pokeballs out of them. And so all the eggs that I got after that were from stops, and they all ended up being 10K, which was bizarre. But I finally went through my last batch of Alolan eggs or 7K eggs and got a Mr. Mime and a Farfetch'd out of the deal. So I was just like, oh shit, I've had these eggs for so long. I was finally waiting to
I also got a Mr.
get
Mime
incubators.
out of my
you did?
last eggs.
Nice. So did
And a Tauros, but I was like, that's lame.
Well, that's like I got the Farfetch'd, and I'm like, really? This is really what I get?
Well, I take a Farfetch over a Tauros. I can catch those any day.
Yeah, Tauros for real. All right, let's get into community day. Adam, how was it in the Great Northeast for you?
Cold. Very, very windy.
Did you do it on foot?
I did it in the car.
Okay.
It was a lot of fun. I started off, first 20 minutes, caught a shiny, so I felt pretty confident in the day. I caught 12 shinies in total.
Wow.
And yeah, it was a blast. And then, I'm in and out of the chat. I'm going into like our group chat and I'm like, hey guys, there's a 96, 98 Beldum here. There's a 96, 98 Beldum here. And somebody posted 100% shortly after. And I had not been in my chat because I don't have my alerts on.
Oh, no.
So, and then I'm like driving through the parking lots and somebody stops me and they're like, hey, did you get the 100% down by the Dunkin' Donuts right down the street? And I was like, no. And so I booked it there. I've never driven so fast and reckless and there were like no cops out. Oddly enough,
they were all playing.
No
like, yeah,
right? They're all foot soldiers.
Did you get it?
No, I did not get it.
Oh.
But I still had a lucky Beldum that was, a 96 or something like that I already had evolved into Metang or whatever. Right. I had several others that were 96, 98, plus the ones I caught. So I ended up evolving, I think, 5 Metangs into Metagross.
Were you catching with Pineapps?
I was catching with Pineapps. I had like over 1,000 plus candies.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And I don't know. We'll talk about the other stuff after, but how was your community day, Ken?
Well, like I said, we did it in the car. I'm a fan of the community day car grind just because it's very efficient, especially in Red Bank, because you get to hit all the stops also. And so as we're getting our shit together, like to get ready to leave, I'm looking in the Discord and in the Red Bank group, they're like, oh shit, there's a Halloween parade today in Red Bank. And I'm like, this can't be happening. I was just like,
our day
is screwed. Like they're going to have the roads closed. So as it gets closer and closer to the time we hear like, all right, the parade's only a half an hour long. It's going to be walking out of town and it shouldn't be, that impactful. And we get there and the one main road in the middle of Red Bank is closed. I'm like, you son of a gun. And I don't know, 20 minutes later ended up clearing up. But so we had our normal experience in Red Bank, hitting all the stops, which is great because we end up getting 40 or so catch 3 Beldum quests because there's so many stops, and we literally exhausted. Melissa, I think it was like 2 hours in, she goes, "We've got them all." She's like, I'm spinning everything, and we're not getting any new quests. So like we've literally got 35, 40, quests out of Red Bank, which is great. I caught my first shiny. Like community day for us in the East Coast starts at 2 p.m. So I caught my first shiny at 2:04 p.m. and I caught my second shiny at 2:07 p.m. So
I was getting like,
7 minutes in, I caught 2.
This is how this day is gonna
go.
And
I'm like, yo, this is bullshit. They cranked the rates up and blah blah blah. I'm talking all this shit, all salty because I'm like, I don't want it to be this common. And then I kind of went blank for like 25 minutes, half an hour, and then they slowly started trickling in. So I ended up today with 11, and so I did not trump Adam's catch count, but I ended up with 11. But better than that, one of the shinies is a 98%. They were all boosted. And then I caught 2 additional non-shiny 96% with perfect attack. So I'm very excited about that. So my Metagross lineup, my Steel type lineup is good to go. So I can't complain there. We ended up stopping to do a couple raids. We did 2 Mewtwo's. Actually, I did 2 Mewtwo's. Melissa only got 1 because she couldn't jump in time. We just missed it.
Yeah, because I was shiny checking.
She was shiny checking.
Because she was just Mystic.
And then
she just missed it.
We did a Alolan Raichu. Melissa didn't have an Alolan Raichu, so we finally did that. So she added that to Dex, which is
and
nice.
I got that. Yeah.
But Melissa, now I want to hear this perspective because Melissa had no affinity for Beldum at all. She was like,
at all.
She doesn't like inorganic Pokemon. So she was just like, meh to begin with. So that being said, and then being in the car, another thing she hates, for 3 hours, and with a Pokemon that she's not really into. How was it for you, Melissa? Like, how was it?
It was tolerable. It was tolerable only because I caught 12 shiny.
Yeah, yeah. Well, she was ready to quit when she had 9, and then I had 9. She's like, no, it's a competition now. Fuck this. And then she ended up, we're going like back and forth.
Fashion.
Yeah.
Yep, we're going back and forth.
And then towards the end, like it was literally, we were going 1 for 1. And like, as we were sitting down eating, I caught the fucking last one that put me over. I was just like, oh, yeah, bitch.
Yeah, we got into Red Bank a little late. So we really started at like 10 after 2. And then we sat down to eat surf taco. That's our Red Bank staple. We sat there. We probably sat, by the time we sat down, it was like, I don't know. Like
4:45.
20 of, something like that. So we ended a little early, started a little late. But I felt completely satisfied. I mean, I think I caught 165 total. And again, that's with driving and stopping to do 3 raids. So, I mean, it's like... it was a successful day. Like in the beginning, I was like, "Oh, I'm going to go for Terry." You know, the Terry's challenge. You know, try to catch the most. And I was just like, let's do some Mewtwo's.
I caught less than 100 of them, but I caught a lot of other Pokemon too.
Yeah, well, let's talk about that. And Melissa,
hold on. What? We still got to talk about Melissa.
Yes.
Now, how did you get your Go Plus?
Synced? So now that I have a new phone,
yes, Melissa upgraded her phone.
It literally connected like no problem at all.
Yeah.
And the Go Plus worked the entire time.
It was she's like it was the phone the whole time.
It was the phone the whole time. It was the phone.
And
see, I was stressing out because I have the Go Plus and the Gacha, and I was trying to sync my Go Plus to a different device, and it like messed up mine.
Yeah, so you have to like completely forget it from your phone and from the Bluetooth and from the game. You know, like it's a little bit of a process to desync it and de-pair it from one device and add it to another device. But
I didn't have a problem. It took me 2 seconds. I turned on Pokemon Go. I tried to connect the Go Plus, and then I was just like, why is it not connecting? I was like, oh yeah, it's still connected to the old phone. Took 2 seconds I literally just held the button down, waited until it turned blue.
Yeah, but Melissa,
let it vibrate.
You've done that process 100 times, like you're an expert.
Oh yeah, that's true. I have done it 10 billion times.
I bet you if you were to ask 10 random trainers, how do you do a hard reset on a Go Plus? 0 out of 10 will know how to do it. but
so
Melissa
it was
will.
nice.
Yeah,
I was double teaming. I was doing your technique, Adam, where I was like clicking. So like the Go Plus would pick up a Beldum, and I'd be like, shit, I got to shiny check it. So I'd touch on it to see if it was shiny, and if it wasn't shiny, I'd run and then hit the Go Plus.
Go Plus it. Yep.
Yeah, and then go on to the next one.
See, I had the gacha going for a little while, catching stuff, and I'm like, man, this is getting like ridiculous because I'm probably missing Beldums. Like I didn't catch a single shiny Beldum with the gacha. All of them were physical catches.
Hand catches.
I caught 2 shinies with the Go Plus.
Yep.
And the rest were hand catches. And the 2 that I caught, I had no idea. I was just like, oh shit.
There was brand new batteries in the Go Plus, so that shit was like...
No, it's not good new batteries. I'm telling you, I think that they're supercharged because I washed that thing 3 fucking times.
Washed and dried.
Washed it and dried. I'm not kidding.
That's insane.
I washed and dried it.
It's so funny because she has a little Snorlax skin, like a little decal, on it, and this shit's still on there, but it's all faded because it's been washed. It's so funny.
All right, so let's talk about what Niantic did here today to distract us from how awesome Beldum Day was supposed to be.
See, I don't look at it like this, so this is going to be a good conversation because I don't have this perspective. Now, the other day, it was actually the same day that the stat change happened. I took my lunch break and I went to the park to drive through the park and play. And I noticed all new Pokemon. Now, Pokemon that are not common in this area, not in this biome, and definitely not common in that specific park. Now, Niantic had announced on their blog that they were going to diversify spawns, especially in parks. You're going to be able to see new Pokemon. The way the nests happen, there's going to be switching up. So we knew that the CP and the stat balance happened. So they released this new kind of update of mechanic change. So I get to the park and there's different spawns everywhere. So since then, spawns in parks have been diversified for sure. I brought it up in the Discord. People were saying the same thing. Out of not your typical biome Pokemon spawning, and especially in parks. Now, today, not in a park, I'm driving through, suburban Red Bank. There's fucking spawns everywhere, just like completely random. Like Scyther, like we're seeing Scyther like every 30 feet.
Honestly,
and it's like
I've
Scyther, Electabuzz, Pinsir.
I didn't see Electabuzz at all.
Yeah, we
No
didn't have
Pinsir.
that. Nope. We had
saw
Scyther
Scyther.
everywhere. And Ammonite. I was seeing Ammonite. And
Okay,
then,
so that's where we
Shelter.
differ.
Yep, Shelter.
A lot of Shelter, a lot of Roselia.
Yep,
Roselia.
Roselia for sure. Yep, that was. See, I don't mind
Skitty.
that because
And a lot of the starters.
Yes, and
I saw
lots
a lot of
starters.
Charmander, Bulbasaur, Turtwigs.
We actually
Yeah.
didn't see Squirtle. We saw plenty
didn't
of
see
Bulbasaur, but no Squirtle.
And Ivysaur, and we saw
Yeah.
Charmeleon.
Yeah, but there was even a point where Melissa's like trying to click on a Beldum, and she's like, "No, I don't want that Pokemon. Fuck, no, I don't want that Pokemon." Like it was so dense.
They were covering them. There was one
Yeah,
time
there was, like,
there
multiple
was
primates.
a Beldum, and it was right behind a Tauros, so it looked like it was pooping it out. And
She's
it
like,
looked
she
freaking
goes,
hilarious.
"Oh, there's a Beldum coming out of that Tauros's ass."
And you didn't screenshot it? Ah.
It was a Beldung.
Oh god. She goes, but it wasn't shiny though, and I was like, "Oh, it was shiny when it went in." But I think that, was this a result of this kind of spawn diversification as per their blog post? I don't know. I don't know how I felt. Now, I ran out of Pokeballs about an hour and a half in. I'm so mad at myself because I didn't give myself time to restock. I mowed the fucking lawn instead this morning. So I didn't go restock, so I had no fucking Pokeballs. So I couldn't use the Go Plus to just catch all the bullshit. Now, if I could have, I would have probably enjoyed the day more because that wouldn't have mattered to me that there was so much other bullshit in the way because I could just Go Plus that shit through. But I don't know. I don't know how I felt about it. It was... would you rather it just be concentrated on the Community Day Pokemon, or did you like having all that extra shit? I don't know.
Well, see, there was a ton of extra stuff, so I thought, in my opinion, it was Niantic's way of saying, like, we realize how good Beldum or Metagross may be in the meta in the future, and here's a bunch of distractions. And you want to hatch eggs? Those are going to slow you down too. I feel like they slowed us down a little bit. That's how I feel.
I could see how you can take that, but I liked having all those other spawns.
There's
I
a
really
lot of people
did.
that think
I was
that,
excited to see so much different stuff.
I
Seeing Snubbles, and I was just
the
like,
Bulbasaur. It's like, it makes you happy every time.
And everything was like a shiny check. Every additional
Yes.
spawn was either a shiny check or something that you don't normally see that's actually rare.
Well, I
agree.
checked
There
a bunch of
was a lot of
Murkrows.
shinies, Murkrows,
Yeah, Murkrows, Swablues.
Swablues.
Yep. Yeah, no, it was definitely weird. I don't know.
See, I think that if they didn't have all those other Pokemon, I would have been bored as fuck. As fuck. If it was just tons of fucking Beldum like it's always been at every other community day, I would have been like, yeah, I'm not doing community days anymore.
See, but now that's definitely interesting because Niantic is smart. They have experts that will tell them what is predictable of what they should do for, their customer behavior. And as a casual player, that was probably the play that they were doing, where we need to spice this up because Beldum is not a sexy Pokemon. This is not a Pokemon that is going to be attractive to the casual player that doesn't know the power of Metagross or doesn't care about the meta, where Metagross will have some relevance. And again, you even said it, Adam, this could be a good Pokemon in the future. Like, if fairy Pokemon ever become relevant in the gym defense meta, then maybe Metagross will be good, but there's no fucking use for him now. I mean, Meteor Mash is a great move.
PvP's coming.
Yeah.
So, we know this.
Yeah, but what Pokemon are you going to be using fairy-wise as an attacker? I mean, right now.
Aside from Gardevoir?
Right. I didn't mind it, but I'm going to say this for a friend. If you're driving and playing, it just makes it that much fucking harder.
It's always hard when you're driving and playing.
Well,
for a friend.
For a friend. But no, honestly, that was
buying coins for a friend while driving also is pretty tough.
Well, I
sometimes it says you're all set, and then you look back at your coins, and it doesn't say you spent any money, and then
you double buy.
Like,
did you double buy?
I did, and then you go in again, and you buy it, and then you're like, oh, why do I have
double coins?
2,000 coins versus 1,000 that I was after.
I got Melissa coins today so she could get some incubators.
And I was telling myself, I was like, it's not about the quality of the incubator, it's about the quantity, because they're giving you the quality.
And I'm wondering, Melissa, if because your Go Plus was fucked up, now when your Go Plus is connected, the Go Plus really kind of takes over as the indicator of distance, of the way the distance is measured when you're playing. So, I mean, I wonder if because your Go Plus was functioning properly today, and you hatch so many freaking eggs, and you've always been like, why am I not hatching eggs? Why am I not hatching eggs?
That's true.
I wonder if it has anything to do with some kind of issue there.
Oh, God.
Because you were always slow to hatch, and we drive we're in the same fucking car, and I'm hatching
I'm like,
shit.
what the fuck? I'm like, this 2K egg has been in this incubator for no joke 3 weeks. How is that possible? How is that possible?
I don't know. Let us know how you felt about having all that extra shit in the way.
Who's going to be next? Who's going to be the next community day?
Well, I'm sure there'll be a leak tomorrow of it.
Yeah, it's probably Torchic.
You think they're going to start going, through the starters?
Yep.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Wah, wah.
They might give us a random, they might be Meowth.
Ew.
Right?
Ew.
Something awful, but
Ew.
no, you know what?
Diglett.
And then here, I'm calling it right now, regardless of community day or not, they're going to have a Team Rocket event where it's just increased spawns of Meowth, Coughing, Ekans, Wobbuffet, Victory Bell, just like all the Team Rocket Pokemon.
I would love that. I think that would be... I'd be totally down with that.
I'm telling you,
let's
man.
Let's get a hashtag going.
That's how they need to rework the gym system with Team Rocket Takeover, where there's certain things happen in gyms. That's what I think should happen. But no, yeah, that Team Rocket should have some place in this game. Maybe it will with hey man, I think Let's Go is going to shake everything up because you're going to really start to see a crossover of players from the console. So I think Pokemon Go is going to be going places once Let's Go comes out because all these new people are going to be coming to that game. So I think something will happen. But all right, what we're going to do now is break away, and we're going to cut in our the interview I did with Go Ranger Matt, and we'll be back in a moment.
I play Pokemon Go every day. I play Pokemon Go.
What's going on, everyone? We are so excited today to have Go Ranger Matt here with us, the creator of the Go Ranger app. We've been utilizing this a ton on the show, and we're really excited to have him on the show. Matt, how the hell are you, man? Welcome to the show.
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it. I've been listening in. I've been listening to that Go Ranger check-in, and hope that the app is providing some use to you guys.
No, absolutely, man. It's great, and as a lot of our listeners and a lot of our community are stat nerds and checklist nerds and really dig into the core of collecting and creating teams and strategies and all that stuff. And the app has become a really significant resource to everything that we're doing on the show. So it's very fitting. We're really excited to have you. But before we get ahead, introduce yourself. Let us know where you're from. What's your history with Pokemon? How did you get into Pokemon Go? And what's your team and level?
Yeah, definitely. So I'm Go Ranger Matt. I am from Madison, Wisconsin. So over in the northern side of the United States where it gets a little bit chilly. So we're already getting cold out a little bit. So I'm going to have to go find some nice gloves for Pokemon Go this year, I think.
Yeah, something you could still use the touchscreen with.
Exactly. I've just been cutting the fingers off of mine, so we might have to destroy a nice pair of gloves and see what happens this year. But yeah. So history of Pokemon. I mean, when I was a child, I was kind of the generation that grew up with the original Pokemon Red and Blue and the original TV show, the original 151. I think that came out when I was like 8 in the United States. So it definitely kind of was part of my childhood where I was playing it. My brothers were playing it. You know, that was one of my Christmas gifts was like, hey, Mom, Dad, can I have like the Game Boy Pocket?
Yeah.
You know, I want to play Pokemon like everybody else. You know, and so it kind of took off from there. Now, I'm not going to lie, you know, the Pokemon craze, you know, died down a little bit. So I probably didn't play too much throughout like high school or anything like that. And a few years ago, let's see, how old are my kids? So like 2 years ago, had my daughter, and had 6 weeks of parental leave, and was just bored one day because, you know, you have a baby and you don't really do much. Like, they just sleep in your arms and they just want to be held like half the time. So I was like, oh, hey, you know what? I'll go on Twitch. So I went on Twitch and realized that Pokemon was now in 3D in like Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire.
Right.
And I was like, dude, this is crazy. Pokemon's in 3D now? Like, what? Like, back in the day, it was just like 2D black and white sprites. So went out, bought a DS, bought Omega Ruby and played a ton of it during my parental leave and just had a blast. And that's kind of what rekindled my relationship with Pokemon, if you will. And then shortly after, you know, Pokemon Go drops, and it was kind of just like, you know, that perfect burst of, nostalgia. I like saying that, you know, in my personal opinion, Pokemon Go has brought for that first week it came out, right? Like, it was the closest to, like, world peace we've ever had.
Dude,
right?
I'm with you 100%. That was, like, the greatest thing ever. Like, the positive vibes just flowing on the street was awesome. It was so cool.
Yeah, it was just everyone getting to, like, relive their childhoods together as adults, and not much in this life gives us the opportunity to kind of do that together on this massive of a scale. So went hard into Pokemon Go, started exploring all the parks by my house with my family. We were literally at like different parks every night and, like, I don't know, just having a blast. It was fun to get out of the house, meet people, hang out with the wife and kids, and play the game.
No, I'm in this very similar situation with you with the family aspect, and that's one of the most important things to me with this game is the ability to bring people together, you know, not just at the family level, but, you know, at a more regional and ultimately global level. I mean, that's what it's all about, man. We talk about community a lot, and the impact that this game has had from a social perspective is overwhelmingly awesome. So that's really cool, and it's cool that you had the family side too, because Adam, Melissa, and I, you know, we're all in that same boat. So that's really cool. What team are you? What level are you? Do you play the game a lot?
So I'm Mystic. In case you can't tell, I've got this like crazy hat. You guys probably don't have video on the podcast, but it's just like huge shiny Mystic letters across the hat. So I am Mystic. I did hit level 40. I hit level 40 couple months ago, shortly before I made the app. So probably like 2.5-3 months ago.
When you had some time,
level
right?
40. Yeah, when I had some time, exactly. When I didn't have like a day job and now a night job. So definitely haven't been playing as much lately, only because the app takes up a lot of my time. But I mean, I enjoy that. So I mean, I'm still having fun with the game and interacting with the community online and through the app. So I'm still having a blast.
That's awesome. Yeah, I feel you. The same thing with us. Like with making the podcast and everything. It's like, oh yeah, I'm still involved with Pokemon Go, but that playing part of it, it's like that's the hard. Yeah. That's the hard part. But totally. How did you get the idea for the app? Like, what inspired you to kind of do this in the beginning? Because I have spreadsheets coming out of my ass of just random lists and checklists of all random stuff and different, you know, groupings of Pokemon and all this stuff. And so I was kind of doing this stuff, and it was brutal because I had there was just files everywhere. So what brought you to make this app? What motivated you to actually create it?
You know, one of the community days that was going on, I forget which community day it was, but whatever was 3 months ago. I don't know which one that was. I was getting together with one of my buddies for community day. We were going downtown Milwaukee, so that's a little bit, you know, east of Madison. And I was wearing my, like, they're not really dress shoes, but they're shoes that I haven't, like, broken in too much. Definitely not my, like, Pokemon Go walking shoes that are, like, broken in and comfortable and cushy and stuff like that. Just not a pair of shoes I wear for show and not for anything else. And I text my buddy, and I'm just like, oh, hey, like, just so you know, I'm on my way. He's like, dude, it starts in 15 minutes. And I was like, dude, I swear to God, it doesn't start for an hour and 15 minutes. Like, I want to go home and grab my shoes. Like, my actual walking shoes. If we're going to be walking for 3 hours, I want to be comfortable.
Right.
And he's like, no, man, it starts in 15 minutes. So I was like, all right, I'm going to floor it. I stepped on the gas, tried to get to, like, downtown Milwaukee as fast as possible. Got there, opened the app, And like, obviously I wasn't checking like time zones on driving. So we get there, open the app, and it doesn't start for an hour.
Wow.
And I was just like, son of a gun. So like I did the whole community day in my uncomfortable shoes, had like blisters at the end of it or something like that. And at the end of that, I was just like, dude, like I wish like the time zone thing is just not fun. I wish there was a way where like I could just go look at my time zone, have a resource, like here's all the events that are happening, that are coming up, what times they actually start and end, like where I live at a glance. So like I don't have to be doing this math in my head or like Googling when events start and crap like that.
Yeah.
So that was the original idea for the app, was just like, hey, have like a resource for events. And then, like you said, there's spreadsheets everywhere, there's infographics everywhere, like all this stuff. And then like I have a favorite infographic from like somebody and I use it and then it becomes out of date and I like want a new one, but like I can't find the right one, or like it's way down in Reddit, like I don't know. So it kind of evolved to become kind of a living infographic, if you will.
Yeah, the game moves fast. Like it's pretty bizarre how incredibly fast the game is, especially of late. I mean, the pacing that they're releasing content and updates is sort of overwhelming, and from a content creator's perspective, it's really tough to stay up with it, where even if you're doing a once a week show, we record and then the next day they drop a nuclear bomb of information on us and it's like, oh shit, what am I going to do now? So I totally feel you on that, but that's cool that it kind of spawned from your own need for a resource. And then that has turned into a resource now that's available to the masses. I think that's a really cool kind of process of how that all worked out. And the time zone thing, man, it screws plenty of people up. And I see that all the time, especially when it comes down to, what time an event starts or when spawns will be starting or ending. And I've heard so many horror stories of people saying, oh, I thought I had another hour to do this. And, I get there and everything's gone. Everything's already changed over. And they just have a shitty experience. So it's kind of cool that that's how this is spawned from with, the time, because you would think that it would be easy, but when you have an international game and an international company like Niantic, it's very difficult to kind of get that messaging out and keep it localized. So having the app where, one of the first things, I guess, when you open up the app, it asks you for your time zone and all that stuff. And then you're locked in and it knows, who you are, where you are, and everything will be tailored to your exact location. That was a game changer because you never have to think twice, which is very cool. And so give us the rundown. If people are not familiar with the Go Ranger app, what is it all about? What does it do? And how can it provide a sense of resource for Pokemon Go players now?
Definitely. So it's got three major features that I like to kind of think about it as. So the first of which is the events listing, right? You've got the what's going on, what's upcoming, what just ended, the times those things are ending, all in your time zone. On that page too, we've got a new section called Be on the Lookout For, where I just call out stuff that like I think is cool that's happening. So like right now, Shiny Shinx is in raids, right? So like I want to call that out and have people know, like, I don't want you to even have to go to the raid section to figure out, like, this is something you should be excited for. I want you to know that right off the bat. So that's kind of the first page, right? What's going on? What should you be on the lookout for? What are the events? Then we've got the field guide. The field guide I kind of think of as like living infographics, right? So that's like a list of all the raids that are going on, all the past raids, all the raid counter guides, what's hatching from eggs, what are the current regionals, like just all this stuff that's in there. We've got like buddy distance checklists. There's a full Pokedex, so you can open the Pokedex, like search for any Pokemon you want, see all of its moves, all of its stats, all of its weaknesses. There's a weakness like calculator thing, so plug in some types and see what it's weak or strong against, like all that stuff, right? So just interactive, living infographics so that you don't have to kind of have all these images all over your phone.
That's awesome.
And then one of the original features that had was just a list of the shiny Pokemon that were available, right? Like, hey, here's what's going on. And that kind of evolved into something else entirely, which is like what you were talking about at the beginning of the episode, right? Like, people are collection nerds and like all this stuff. And people saw that shiny checklist. They're like, dude, can you actually make checklists? Like, I want to just manage, like, what Pokemon do I have that are lucky? What are 100%? What do I have all the regionals? Do I have, a 0% of everyone? Do I have all the female forms, all the male forms? Like, just all this stuff. And they wanted to customize, like, all of their lists and just keep track of, like, how many Pokemon in each checklist they had. I know a lot of people use, like, spreadsheets for that, but it's just hard to maintain. So the app allows you to make your own checklists and kind of keep track of your entire collections, whatever those may be. I've got pre-built ones where like I manage the list for you. So like the shiny list, you don't have to worry about like when new shinies come out. Like I add those to the list for you. But if you want like a custom checklist with like a specific set of Pokemon, you can do that too.
Now,
so
that's awesome. We've got members of our community. We have a very active Discord for our Patreon supporters, and they're very, very active on this side of the game and the data and analytical side of the game. And we've got a couple people that have created some cool custom checklists that have kind of been adopted by other members in our community.
Nice.
And, one guy's making a list of, the Pokemon that the solo raids that he's completed. And so he's got a solo raid checklist. And, then he's got like Pokemon on that list that he hasn't been able to defeat yet, and then he can move them to another list when he defeats them. So it's really cool that it really has become this living, kind of breathing, functional resource. And it's the checklist thing is huge. I mean, it's so hard to keep up with. I mean, I use a lot of resources online, and when I'm creating the notes for the podcast, or even just at an event or something like that, and I want to pull out some information, it is really hard to find accurate, up-to-date information. So it's there's plenty of info out there, but it's very difficult to be in real time. So it's with the app, that's a huge feature, because when Gen 4 dropped, I mean, you had it up so quick, and like when new shinies come out, you have it up so quick. I'm like, man, this is freaking awesome. Like I don't have to sweat it. And, I can really sound like I know what the fuck I'm talking about when I'm at these raids. It's like, I'll just pull out the app, I'll start talking out of my ass from the side of the app. And it's like, yeah, I know all this info. But yeah, no, it's really become an awesome tool. And I've shown it to my main community leaders in my areas, because I raid in about 3 or 4 different areas of New Jersey. And, you have your leaders, your community leaders in each of those areas, and they're the walking resource for their community. And I've shown the app to them. Now they all use it. And when their community members come up to them, who should I use? Where are we going? What do I need to do here? That's the number one resource they go to, because it's all there. So as far as finding a raid guide, getting people to just be savvy and understand what Pokemon to use. And we cover raid parties every week. I mean, we try to develop the metas, whether it's the gym meta or the raid meta, of helping our community understand that it goes deeper than tapping. Yes, we know the physical mechanics of the game are just tapping and swiping and all that stuff. And yeah, there's not a lot of depth there. But if people don't have a history with Pokemon and don't really understand the rock, paper, scissors thing of how this all works, having a resource that kind of puts it in front of you and say, hey, you're going to do better, or you will benefit, you will have a better experience if you use the Pokemon that are detailed here, everyone has a better experience. And that's what I've noticed at the street level with the app, is people are just being able to become more efficient trainers, better trainers, be more knowledgeable in the game, and it really, really helps to stop the flow of misinformation. And I think that Pokemon Go, especially online between Reddit and Twitter, the amount of misinformation out there is just staggering. So it's cool to have a resource that people know they can trust, and I think that that's what Go Rangers really developed into, is a solid backbone of data and information where if it's on Go Ranger, you can trust it. So thanks so much for that. Thumbs up for that one.
Definitely. And the good news is, too, is like enough people are on the app now that like if I put something up that's wrong, I know within like probably 20 minutes.
That's awesome. Yeah, that's what I mean.
Somebody calls me out, they're just like, dude, you messed up the time zone. Like, I think I accidentally put November instead of October for like the end of one of the events or something like that. And within like 15 minutes, I have all these tweets that are like, dude, you did it. You did it wrong. But that's awesome, because it allows me to kind of fix stuff and move forward at a rapid pace. So the community, not only do I hope I'm helping the community kind of with the app, the community helps me kind of make the app better the whole time. So. And
is this a one-man show?
Yep.
That's awesome.
So a little bit of backstory. I work for a company called Ionic. I'm a product manager here. And Ionic is a technology that allows web developers to build like cross-platform, like Android, iOS, the web, like apps using just the web technology that they know. And so it was kind of cool for me to just like actually make a real app at scale using the technology that like my company builds. So it was kind of fun just to like dive in and be like, I talk to customers all day that are like using this thing to make apps, but like making one for me making one and like just seeing it blow up and kind of having fun with it was really exciting. And So not only is I hope the Pokemon Go community benefit and like I'm having fun, I benefit, but like the company also like has me put in some of our products and stuff like that and like test them at scale. So it's a ton of fun.
No, that's really cool, and it's super intriguing to because I have no idea how any of that stuff works, and it's really cool knowing that, hey man, it's just you cranking away on a keyboard. That's pretty inspiring. That's super cool. So what do you think is the most useful feature in the app? Like if you were showing someone the app for the first time, where would you send them?
Oh boy. Well, first of all, I think that depends on kind of like what type of player you are, right? So like if you're a player that like I have users that probably only use the checklist feature, right? Like they just want to like manage like their intricate checklist combinations and do that. So that's going to be super useful for them. My favorite thing though is the be on the lookout feature, which is so small. It's like insignificant. It's like not a huge part of the app, right? Like, but you just open the app and at the top of the screen, it's just like, hey, here's what's going on. Like, here's what you need to know exists today. So I think like right now that's like what Gen 4 Pokemon are available, the stat rebalance that's coming soon, Shiny Shinx raids like Shiny Krabby, and I don't know, there's another one. I forget what it is. But like just, hey, I open the app and like now I know. Here's the things I should be like tapping on or looking for while I'm playing the game. So yeah. I don't know. That's my favorite at least. And it took me like 10 minutes to program because it's literally just like I love those things, right? The things that are just like, hey, this took like 10 minutes, but like it drastically changes the usability of the information. Like I like that kind of stuff. The whole goal of the app is just make it the barrier to entry, make it super easy to like find the information you want.
No, that's
and
great.
I just feel like that feature does a good job of it actually doing that.
Well, I definitely used that because when I was kind of I was speaking with Melissa and we were talking about like what we had seen, because we didn't see a lot of Gen 4 on day one. There was not much out there. And she's asking me, well, how many are there? And we were talking about on last episode of the podcast, we were saying that this is the smallest batch of in the wild Pokemon that we're going to see across a whole generation, and especially now with just kind of the trickle effect. So you really kind of have to be out there. And if you're not savvy with Gen 4 and you don't recognize these Pokemon, it's there's such a hard scale. I mean, the podcast community typically is the 1%. They're the elite players, the ones that are, spending their free time when they're not playing the game, listening to audio about the game. They're hardcore. But for the masses, I think that's a fantastic tool, because if they don't physically recognize a Pokemon, or they don't know that there's an event going on or something like that, it's just a great tool to say, hey, if you want to really maximize your experience, these are the things you should look out for. So that's cool. That's a really cool feature, man.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
All right, so I got to ask you one hard-hitting question, and this is a little relevant now because there was, kind of a false flag wave of bans and stuff like that with third-party apps, and
definitely,
I know it's a major concern, especially from legitimate players. Now, on our side, we champion the terms of service. We'll talk shit on spoofers, we'll call them stupid and, say they're silly and all that stuff. But from, what it really comes down to is we want to make sure that we're upholding and promoting the culture that Niantic would like to push out for their game and their community. So that being said, have you encountered any challenges as a third-party app? Again, not integrating with Pokemon Go, completely standalone, but there's
Correct.
Still this weird gray area with there's certain apps out there that the community is like, man, I just don't even want to have this thing downloaded on my phone because Niantic is somehow going to know that it's there and I'm going to get screwed and I'm going to wake up one day and want to play and I'm a legitimate player and then all of a sudden I'm going to be blocked out. So how do you approach that kind of perspective, and have you had any concerns with working as a third-party, Pokemon Go thing?
Yeah, let's dive in. So the long story short here is, well, first of all, disclaimer, I'm not a legal scholar and I'm not Niantic. So I obviously look at the terms of service kind of before I even made the app. And I know there's been changes in the wording and kind of how it's worked. Also, a lot of those changes seem to be kind of up to Niantic's interpretation onto what they actually mean. I know you guys specifically have been like tweeting out Niantic help, like, can you please just verify what you actually mean, like by the language that you put in the TOS, please? So a couple different things on that note. First of all, my goal is just to like help the community and play within the rules. So like I'm not talking to Niantic servers. We're not taking your Pokemon Go login information. We're not doing anything kind of to their servers using their resources, none of that stuff. So that's the biggest thing, right? And that's the difference between like an app that like, you log in and it automatically tells you the IVs of all your Pokemon. Like that 100% against terms of service. Like there's no ifs, ands, or buts or gray areas. Like if you're giving your actual Pokemon Go login information to something, or like you're using a Pokemon scanner or a raid scanner or something like that, that stuff very clearly against terms of service. The area that I think Go Ranger plays in is I really do view the entire app as just a living infographic. It's an infographic and it's a spreadsheet. And, if I was Niantic, I would hope that I would look at it and see that, right? That this is literally just a collection of pictures and, interactive pictures you can click on and spreadsheets that people are already maintaining. So I look at this as just an easier resource for things people are already doing. So like to put out a crazy statement, I guess, like if Go Ranger was to get banned, like might as well ban infographics. Now, like just because like that's how I view it. Obviously, that's my interpretation of everything. Now, let's say Niantic changes their mind. First of all, if Niantic ever reached out to me or anything like that and like was like, yo, we don't like that you're doing X, Y, or Z, I'm obviously going to work with them and make sure that, I am in their eyes well. If they reach out to me one day and they're like, dude, you can't do this anymore, like, I'm fine with that too. I'm not going to have my feelings hurt. Like, whatever they say goes. I'm just trying to help the community. And if they say this is the wrong way to do that, I'm fine with that. So totally open to working with them. Now, let's say, we do have people in the community that are scared, that look at these new terms of service and say, hey, like, this is super vague. How can I, actually make sure that I'm not against terms of service? In my opinion, using an app like POKéGenie or like Go Ranger or anything like that doesn't really use any of your information, I don't view that as like an legit bannable offense if I'm Niantic. I view that as like the little slap on the wrist that is like, okay, you got a strike and like, please don't do this again. I don't think there's going to be this massive thing where people are just all of a sudden, it's like, hey, anyone who uses POKéGenie or Go Ranger, like you're banned now. I don't see that happening kind of from a PR perspective or anything like that. So that's probably a long-winded ansser.
No,
there's a lot to like unpack there.
No, I mean, it's because it is definitely a concern in the community. And I have POKéGenie on my phone. I have iOS. I'm not using an overlay feature that's not available on the iOS. I'm importing screenshots that I've taken on my device. So when I import the photo, I'm not importing it from Pokemon Go. I'm importing it from my camera roll. So there really is no integration. There's no level of, I know that Niantic has tried to slip some lines of code in and say, hey, let me spy on the rest of the device and let me look at what other apps are there. So it's definitely a huge concern, but that, hopefully, especially with this latest wave of, suspensions and bans and the Brandon Tan thing and all this other stuff that's going on, hopefully they'll give some degree of clarification. And I know on my end, I've been in touch with Niantic PR, and it seems that they're doing a little bit of a better job with communicating with content creators and people in the media on a little bit more personal level. So I've kind of sent some emails and said, look, we just want to know what information to put out there. Our community is exceptionally hungry for this information, and we want to provide accurate info. So hopefully we'll get some clarification, in the coming weeks. But I am always a person that says, like, look, if you're doing something shady in the game, like spoofing or botting or scraping data. I know Ingress just went through like, a crazy, cycle of events over the past 12 months with their community and community ambassadors scraping data from the game and selling it off. Like it was a mess. And while I don't see that necessarily happening in Pokemon Go, I know there are some illicit behaviors in Pokemon Go that don't jive with the terms of service clear as day. So it's these gray areas that make people a little nervous. But I know, and I feel confident using Go Ranger every day, that this is completely standalone. This is completely, non-integrated. And this is just like any other app on my phone that I'm just utilizing. It can, it is what it is. So I want our community to know that Go Ranger is, from what we understand and how we can kind of, break out the language of the terms of service and what we've heard from Niantic, you're not going to have any problems. I don't want anyone to be concerned with, having any issues with Go Ranger because this is completely standalone and is a free spirit. So, everyone go out there and download the app, and you'll see as soon as you use it, like, holy shit, like this is exactly the data I've been looking for. So that's good to know. And it would be interesting to see how Niantic, if they kind of develop this conversation that's been going around online with, because before they weren't even answering anything. They were just kind of saying, if you do use third-party apps, we're gonna get you. And then someone wrote the other day, like, hey, PokéGenie and Calci IV, they're calling out apps by name. And there's good and bad to that. But in doing that, we actually got a response from Niantic support saying, hey, they don't call them out by name, but they say, in response to those apps, if you use these third-party and unauthorized apps, there is a chance that you can get, blocked or terminated, suspended, whatever. So there's a lot of gray area, but as long as you're not logging in, as long as you're not doing anything with integration, as long as you're not running Pokemon Go at the same time and in conjunction with another app, you're going to be totally cool. And we've always beat that drum of doing things right, and I believe Go Ranger falls into that field. So I just want to make everyone clear on that, so just so they know where we're at, where our headspace is at. But definitely. It's cool though that, like you said, like if Niantic were to reach out, you'd be willing to work with them. I think that they need to embrace that, and they've started to embrace the community from a player perspective. Now they've kind of broken into the content creators, working closer and closer with the YouTube community, and hopefully that'll start branching out to journalistic stuff and podcasts and other creators that are on the software sector, because there's just so much talent out there and a lot of useful stuff that the people want. And, sometimes it's hard to get that messaging up from the ground level to Niantic, and you have these intermediaries and third parties that kind of bridge that gap for them. So as long as we're playing nice, it should be all good. So that's what's really intriguing to me on the app. So awesome, definitely. Man. Dude, I'm so psyched you came on the show. I'm really excited.
Thanks for having me.
I think that everyone in the community out there should download Go Ranger, check it out. There's a web browser version. Now, this is huge for me because when I'm at work, I can't stare at my phone all day, but I can stare at my computer screen. So it's like, using the web browser version, I'm able to still gather that information, and I don't have to be attached to the phone, which is kind of cool, and all that. So check out the app, everyone. It's goranger.app, right? For the browser version.
Instead of .com, it's .app. So goranger.app. And then at Go Ranger app on Twitter.
That's awesome. And where pretty much they iOS, Android, it's all straight ahead.
iOS, Android, web, just go for it.
Excellent. And go ahead, and if you want to put out your personal Twitter, plug anything like that, you got a website. We talked about that, but anywhere else they could look for you, or anything else you want to plug?
Follow at Go Ranger app on Twitter. I mean, if you're interested in building apps, check out Ionic Framework. That's the tech I use to build it. But I mean, other than that, that's kind of where I'm hanging out.
That's awesome, man. Well, we really appreciate you coming on the show, and definitely be on the lookout for our Go Ranger check-in at the end of every episode. I think it's a fantastic little segment, and helps our community out in understanding what the hell is going on, especially with nest migrations, because I always forget when nest migrations are happening, and I'm a big, I'm an avid supporter of the Sylph Road Nest Atlas, and I always try to get people to interact with that and keep that community going, and the nest migration countdown is been a huge tool, because then we can prep our community and say, hey, by the time you hear this, there's going to be a nest migration. Take 30 freaking seconds and post this to the Nest Atlas on Sylph Road. And again, you have all these people that are just jiving and working together and communicating together, and it just builds this greater community. The podcast community is like that in Pokemon Go, and we say, look, what's good for one of us is good for all of us. If you do better, we do better. So it's all good, and I really like and enjoy that vibe and community that the content creators, and now breaking into even the software space of creators, are all working together and creating this really dynamic environment for our players and trainers to live in. So thanks so much for coming on the show, Matt. I really appreciate it, and we'll definitely have you back on in the future.
Thanks for having me. Have a good one, everybody.
Take care. Okay, we're back. I want to give a huge shout out to Go Ranger Matt. It was really cool talking to him. Please, the link will be in the description. Check out the app. It's pretty fucking awesome, and it's very helpful. And in just a moment, we'll go through our Go Ranger check-in that we're going to start to do consistently on the show, because I think it's just such a great tool, and puts everything in arm's reach for you. All right, a couple bits of miscellaneous news here before we get into our Piloswine raid guide and battle party. There's new sale boxes. Now, this is exclusive of the Community Day box, because that came, which is fucking bullshit. But the new sale boxes came, and they suck. I'm not sure what Niantic is going for here, but it seems like they're putting these boxes together for strange demographics. Because they're not what the core players want. Now, the core players are the ones spending the money, I'd imagine. But these boxes, it was a 27% discount for the special box. And then once you get up to the Ultra box, it goes up to 60%. But where are my lucky eggs? Like, where is this build a box feature? Like, they need to do something where they just put everything on sale, a la carte or in a box, because I need fucking lucky eggs and they haven't been on sale in forever. And it's like, I've got 80 lures. Like, what the hell? Every time I buy a box, I'm just getting inundated with lures. Like, Adam, I know you're militant with how many you keep, how many items you keep. Like, what does your like lures and raid pass count look like?
Raid passes I keep about 20 because I normally have to. When I work open to close, and that usually consists of me not being able to raid that day. But I am able to hit the gym, so I have 2 raid passes stored up.
Right.
And the frequency of me raiding is like maybe 2 every other day.
Right.
So I can store up that raid pass and use it the following day.
Yeah. So
and then lures, I mean, I literally just bought them. I didn't even use them.
Yeah, it's hard. Like, I mean, when we got into Red Bank today, everything was already lit up, so I didn't even have a chance.
I was mad because none of the boxes had incense.
Yeah, and I had no incense for the second half of the event. It's like I'm so kind of conditioned right now to only buy stuff when it's on sale that I don't want to buy a la carte incense or a la carte lucky eggs because they're not on sale. It's like I demand a deal, damn it. Like, fuck.
This was the first community day that I did eggs, incense, and the star pieces the entire time.
You go, girl. You go, girl.
I actually played the game, friends.
Yes, I know. It's
so
amazing.
there.
I know. Someone in the Discord posted up a picture of like them becoming ultra friends with you or whatever, and it's like, oh my god, she's playing. She's back. She's like, he's back. She's back. And then Adam came in and was talking shit.
Got salty.
Yeah, and then ironically, we became ultra friends. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh shoot, she opened my gift.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've got best friends coming up in a couple days. I'm going to be able to hit, I think, best friends with 5 people on the same day. So, got to get that lucky egg coordination going.
Got to
get that. Sponsored gyms are being removed from Europe in the Uniball Rebalum malls over in the Netherlands. This isn't a good sign. Is it a good sign? Is it a bad sign? I don't know, but that sponsorship seems to be at least degrading because it's not 100% of the gyms, but some of that sponsor stuff is going away. And then there was talk here that people were saying that sprint gyms could be affected. Like, could that be going away? I don't know, but I really hope not. I just hope we need all the gyms we can get, especially because these sponsor gyms are typically EX eligible. So if this sponsorship goes away, do we lose our EX gym? That's going to be interesting to follow if this stuff starts really, going away. I'm going to post some links in the description from the community day that took place in Santiago, Chile. This is fucking insane. It looks like a political rally. That's how many people are like gathered in a courtyard. It's absolutely awesome. And then there was 2 stampedes for like 100% Beldums that were reminiscent of like when the game first came out. Of like just that's people crazy. Running through the streets and everything. So I'll put the links in the description. The video is fucking really cool. Shout out to the Santiago, Chile players because that community just looks absolutely amazing and really freaking cool. Really strong. Absolutely awesome.
What's up, everybody? It is Go Ranger Matt, and this is the Go Ranger Check-In.
As of right now, Mewtwo is going to be available for about another day and a half. It ends on the 23rd, so by the time this is released, will Giratina be our next legendary raid boss? I think so. I think that it's perfect for Halloween as a ghost type. Adam, you think they might backtrack with like a different, like a previous legendary for filler, or you think Giratina?
Groudon.
You think Groudon?
Groudon's scary.
Groudon is a little scary, but Giratina's a ghost. It's Ghost Dragon, but it's still a ghost.
But Groudon, he's a Groudon.
I don't know, but Mewtwo is going away, so something's going to happen. By the time you hear this, there'll be a new raid boss for Tier 5.
Yeah. Because we don't have a shiny one yet.
Yes.
And it's just right. I don't know. I think you could be right, but I also think...
Well, I mean, we had Kyogre, so we might see Groudon for a small amount of time, and then Giratina comes in. I don't know. Either way, I'll be happy.
Maybe we'll get Groudon. The Reggies back.
Oh, fuck that.
Can't wait.
Oh, God.
No, please. Nest migration number 67. This is going to be a very important one. Happens in about 10 days on Halloween. Now, this will be the first nest migration during this updated spawn diversification thing that Niantic was talking about. So it's going to be interesting to see if we start seeing multiple Pokemon available in nests, because that's kind of what they alluded to. And I'm down for that, where if you would normally go and say there was a Scyther nest or something like that, and now all of a sudden you would see Scyther plus one other Pokemon, but the other Pokemon you're seeing just as much as Scyther, like making it clear that, yes, this is also a nesting Pokemon in this location. I'm totally down for that. So it's going to be very important that we look at what spawns in these nests and report it to the Sylph Road Nest Atlas. Like, it's going to be more important than ever to do that, because we're going to need to collect that data to, it's the core players, our listeners, that can kind of take the charge of the user created content when it comes to sourcing data, because we know we're not getting that shit from Niantic. So we got to be the ones to carry that torch. So make sure you're reporting to the Nest Atlas. Suicune, also the first of the month, that rolls over right after Halloween. It'll rotate with a new research breakthrough. Now, what can we speculate here? Because we're now through the dogs. What could come next? I'm not sure, but that'll be happening. Coming too. But we'll have another podcast before that happens. Maybe they'll announce it.
Maybe a big ghost. No, because we're already at
it'll be out of Halloween, right? It'll be, well. Do we start thinking holiday? Could it be, Delibird?
Could be Lapras. Could be Lapras with its old
ice move, Ice Blizzard, or what is it? Blizzard, right?
I think it's Blizzard.
I don't know. That'd be cool. Oh, and also I was talking to Matt from Go Ranger about this really cool section he has at the top of the page now called Be on the Lookout For. So this kind of tells you what is currently in the catching meta. Like, keep your eyes out for Shiny Shanks, for Krabby. The make 2 nice curveball throws. That's the Spinda #1 research task. He even has a timer on that, available for another 10.5 days, because that's when the next rotation for the legendary Pokemon, the research breakthrough, which brings the research change. So,
I still don't have a Spinda.
Damn,
not even one.
We should have drove through Red Bank once after 3 o'clock or after 5 o'clock, just so you could have got all those new research.
Damn it!
Wait. So that brings up something else. I couldn't have done every single task in the entire downtown. I spun all of them on the way home, and I didn't get anything new. I didn't get any new task, and my thing was full, or I didn't not full. It was empty, and I just needed tasks. And then there was one that I know I never got. Period. And that one gave me a get 4 revives or something stupid for battling in a gym or a raid or something. But
yeah, Melissa, you got to be on the lookout for those. It's hard because, especially with some of the longer ones, like evolve 10 water Pokemon for a Dratini. Like, if you're 6 or 7 Pokemon evolutions into that task, you're not going to want to dump it, So it's like you end up holding on to these tasks, and it makes it harder to kind of rotate through and find what you're looking for. But
yep, I had 2 the other day, and it was like I just kept evolving, and I'm like, oh man, I don't have anything new, to the point where I just finally evolved several Piplups just to get the task completed. And no shiny, no 100%, just crappy old Dratinis.
All right, let's get into our Piloswine battle party.
What is it?
It's a fucking battle party. Ooh, battle party. Ooh.
God damn it.
Guys, we got to step up our game on
Look,
this.
I think we need to go into a studio and actually record it as a jingle, and then do it professionally. We could have instruments and beatboxers and
battle party.
It's a battle.
All right, Piloswine. Now we're gonna talk about soloing this thing. It's definitely doable with 2 trainers.
Soloing?
Yeah, hell yeah,
dude. I'm afraid
it's
of this.
not too bad. It's not too bad. It's only 13,663 CP. It's an ice ground Pokemon. Perfect catch is going to be 1305, level 20, and level 25 will be 1631. It is boosted in snow or sunny because it is ice ground, so that's a funny mix. But because it is ice ground, it has a ton of weakness: fire, fighting, grass, water, and steel.
It's just weak to everything.
Well, this is great. You could use all the fucking Metagross. You could make a whole party of Metagross, and it'll be super effective if you have the Bullet Punch Meteor Mash combo. But anyway, best counters: Entei, Fire Fang, and Overheat; Kyogre, Waterfall, Hydro Pump; Moltres with Fire Spin, Overheat. Machamp, of course, counter Dynamic Punch. Same thing with Hariyama. Ho-Oh. Now, this is a great one. I'm definitely bringing this because you can get a Ho-Oh that had funky specking with Steel-type move because you can get Steel Wing and a Grass-type move with Solar Beam. So you could actually have a Steel Wing, Solar Beam Ho-Oh be super effective throughout its entire fast and charge move cycle, which is really, really cool. I think that's just a perfect opportunity to use that combo. And then other Pokemon you could use, Flareon, Blaziken, Vaporeon. Blaziken's another one that could you do the fire fighting thing, and while you're not going to, you still retain stab, but also super effective. Kind of cool. All right, so I'm going diverse here. I'm going to bring Entei, Kyogre, Machamp. I'm going to spec out that Ho-Oh with the Steel Wing and Solar Beam. I like that a lot. And then I'll bring a Blaziken, my dude, and do the same thing with a fighting move as well, with the Focus Blast. So Entei, Kyogre, Machamp, Ho-Oh, Blaziken. I'm going to bring a Vaporeon, just for nostalgia's sake, just because I have an OG Vaporeon from back in the day that I still pump out every so often. So Entei, Kyogre, Machamp, Ho-Oh, Blaziken, and Vaporeon. Adam, what do you got?
All right, so these 4 are all 100%. I'm going to bring my Vaporeon, Gyarados, Ammonite, Ninetales.
Ninetales?
And then, yeah, hey. Some people have 100% Ninetales, some people don't. It's all right. And then Kyogre and Executor.
Okay, you got Solar Beam on the Executor, so that's probably solid. Yeah,
yes.
That's good. Melissa, do I need to ask?
No, you don't, because you guys know I'm just going to bring 6 Snorlax because I don't give a fuck about this stupid pig.
You don't like Mammoth?
The best part is that she'll lose. She's like you're not going to be able to solo it with 6 Snorlax, and she probably won't even care. She'll burn the raid pass just for fun.
Whatever. That's cool. I don't care.
All right.
I just won't even do them.
Well, maybe if the 3 of us got together and used all Snorlax, maybe we could do it.
That would be pretty fucking funny. That would be pretty funny. I don't know, man. You see,
you could do
normal Pokemon suck. They just suck.
But it's Snorlax, so because he's mine, he'll do it.
So Melissa got excited because the other night I was like, oh man, I gotta, we still haven't gotten the Pokemon storage upgrade. I'm like, I gotta transfer Pokemon. I gotta do it. I'm like, I got 6 Snorlax I'm gonna transfer. She's like, oh, how dare you trade him to me? So she got so excited because I was able to trade her a whole bunch of Snorlax.
Yeah.
I was like, fuck it. She was
I
giving.
think I'm almost at the point where I have a whole page.
She was giving me like Weedle for Snorlax. Oh shit.
Hey, that's fair.
I thought it was fair.
Well, for you, no, I didn't care. I was gonna chop it up anyway, so it worked out because I still get candy, and then you get candy too, even if you were to chop it. But I don't think you would.
Yeah, I love doing that. I love, even if they have like a crappy Pokemon, I'll just throw them like a high level CP something just so like they have high level Pokemon.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's
like one of the Scythers. It's over 2,000 CP weather boosted. Here, give me your Scyther that's like 800.
Well, and again, you get that little preview of what you can expect from the resulting Pokemon CP. So, sometimes it'll retain itself high if the the person you're trading with's level is adequate. But yeah, I don't mind doing that at all. I mean, Melissa and I were trading Beldums back and forth trying to get Luckies today. Oh, that's another thing. In the Discords, people were saying like they were doing tons and tons of trades today, and for whatever reason had real shitty lucky luck today. I think someone said they had
unlucky
luck. I think Shermanator said she did 100 trades. She posted the screen of hitting the trade wall where it said, "You've done your maximum amount of trades for the day. Please come back tomorrow." And she didn't get one fucking lucky. Like, what the hell?
That's insane.
Yeah. Anyway, food for thought. All right, so that's going to pretty much wrap up the show. You guys got anything else?
Nope.
These new phones are pretty nice.
Oh, yeah. So we're officially all upgraded now. Adam has a new phone. Melissa has a new phone.
I have AR Plus.
Oh, yeah. Android AR Plus.
I have AR Plus. I can't wait to actually start taking pictures. And you know what? I still have my Mew.
Oh, there you go.
So I'm going to totally take some pictures. See, and you guys don't have it because you already caught yours, so you can't do it. So,
on that note, that's going to wrap up the show. Please leave us a review on iTunes. It would help us greatly. Check out luredup.com for everything that we do, and email us info@luredup.com. Thanks again, and we'll see everyone next week.